Hey guys, how's everyone doing? This is Sir Jedi Sentinel, and welcome to another Sentinel vlog. Yes, even though I said my first Doctor Adventures Volume 1 review would be my last review before RTX, I decided to put out one more. And this one will be my real last one before RTX. This one, as you notice, numbering is kind of weird because I'm doing my top 10 favorite companions again. It's been a year since I did my last one, which was my second vlog ever, and looking at that video, I'm not proud of it. I stammer, I ramble too much, and I feel I didn't get I feel I didn't communicate my reasoning across well enough. Also, in the year plus since I posted that video, my opinion on the companions have changed drastically. So, with a better performed, better spoken video, hopefully, because I'm still unscripted, I thought I could present my changing viewpoints. So, I'm not going to waste any more time, because the last time I did a top 10, it ended up being 50 minutes long, so let's just sit back and get started. Real quick, a little bit of a disclaimer, because I forgot this the last time I did this video. What you're going to see is my opinion. I'm not saying these are the best companions, but these are my personal favorites. If you have your own, that's great. So real quick, these are the runner-ups. I'm not going to go into too in-depth in them like I did in my top 10 6 Doctor Audios video, because again, that became a 50-minute video. But I did seriously consider these companions. They were on my list at one point or another, so I thought I would still share them with you. And these runner-ups are Lucy Miller, Frobisher, Barbara Wright, Sarah Jane Smith, Jamie McCrimmon, Charlie Pollard, Wilfred Mott, and Romana 2, Lala Ward. And now we're on to the main event, starting with the number 10, Grace Holloway. I'm serious. No, I'm not joking. Okay, you can stop laughing now. But yeah, Grace Holloway is my 10th favorite companion. Now, Grace Holloway was a companion to the 8th Doctor in his first, one of two, forays he had on television, the TV movie. Also known as Doctor Who, the movie, also known as The Enemy Within, also known as the one with Paul McGann, etc., etc. I'm not doing this joke. Anyway, the movie is... yeah, it's bad. Even though it's bad, there are good things to say about it. There are good things in it. The budget is obviously really big, and they spent it well. The movie looks amazing. The effects look amazing. Paul McGann's 8th Doctor. The 8th Doctor's TARDIS console, which ties with the 12th Doctor's, is one of my favorites. And then everything else in the movie kinda sucks. Most notably, Eric Roberts as the Master. That being said, I thought personally Grace Holloway was one of the best things about the... not the best thing, scratch that. I thought she was one of the better things about the movie. I thought Daphne Ashbrook and Paul McGann had great chemistry and played off each other really well. I thought she was an interesting character, you know, this pompous, I was trying to find the right adjective to describe her, surgeon, but she does have a heart of gold. Like, when she kills the 7th Doctor, just watch the movie. Even though it's bad, I do recommend watching it. But no, when she kills the 7th Doctor, she realizes, oh, something went wrong here. I need to own up to this. But I think the thing with Grace is that I can see the potential with her. I can see kind of where this character could have gone. And I hope the BBC or Big Finish gets these weird rights issues with Universal solved so we can start seeing more of her, because Daphne Ashbrook is still pretty active in the Doctor Who community. Like, she goes to the cons all the time. She's even still doing Big Finish a lot. She's playing different characters, but yeah, I'd like to see her with... I'd like to see her reprise Grace with better material. Number 9, what is possibly the most divisive companion in all of New Who, Clara Oswald. Now, when I started watching Doctor Who, which I've talked about this back and forth a lot, I started with Series 8, Clara was my first companion. And despite the issues I have in her execution, I'm always going to have a soft spot for her because of that. Because, you never forget your first. A point I would like to make is that Clara was a multi-doctor companion. A companion who helped multiple doctors, usually through regeneration. Because some companions, like Charlie, have helped other doctors in differing circumstances. Anyway, that was a bit of a what's the word? But back to Clara. Clara was a companion to the 11th Doctor and the 12th Doctor. And I would just like to point out she is a much better companion to the 12th Doctor. Because when we first meet her with the 11th Doctor, well, it's not technically her, but I'm not getting into that. Clara was the subject of the second half of Series 7's story arc, The Impossible Girl, and in every story she was in, she wasn't a character. She was a plot device. After the 11th Doctor regenerated and the Impossible Girl story arc came to a close, despite how I phrased that, the two are not linked. She got to be a character with the 12th Doctor. She got to grow and develop. Also, I just feel, along with the being a plot device, Jenna Coleman had no chemistry with Matt Smith at all, but she just worked off Peter Capaldi so well, and I really loved her arc in Series 9. With the exception that it built up to Hell Bent, but before that, I liked her arc. Like, she did all this stuff. She saw what the Doctor did, and till finally it reached the point where the Doctor was like, hey, I know you're excited, I know we're having fun, but please, don't try to be me. And that's, personally, I think that's the best conclusion to her character, to her story arc, is that in Face the Raven, she kept approaching this problem as, what would the Doctor do? How would the Doctor do this? And, she ignored his warning, don't try to be me, and she paid the price for it. And then Hellbent happened. But, no, despite that, I'm not holding that against her character. I do think there is a lot to like about Clara, and I hope in some way, either through books or through Big Finish, we get to see more of her, and hopefully with better material. And not a spin-off with a Shielder. Seriously, Paternoster Gang spin-off. Number 8. The first big change from my original list, because she was number 3 in that list, Jo Grant. Now, honestly, Jo moved so far down because, as I thought about it, yes, there were companions I still liked a lot more, but Jo is honestly still a fairly standard companion. It's like, if you think about the companion mold and what it is, young woman, modern day Earth, meant to be the Doctor's sidekick and is supposed to be the audience proxy into the Doctor, which is why the Doctor explains everything to his companions so we understand what he's doing. Yeah, Jo Grant is pretty much that mold personified. There's nothing stand out about her except one thing. I've read around in various places that Katie Manning and John Pertwee, the third Doctor, had an absolutely phenomenal working relationship. And when you watch them together on screen, it really shows. Like, the way they work together, the chemistry they have, the way they play off each other. Even though Jo is a fairly standard companion, the third Doctor, Jo relationship is my favorite Doctor-companion relationship in the entire show. This one I was originally very worried about because I didn't know if I considered her a companion or not. I talked with some friends and some other very Big Finish fans, and yes, this is a companion from Big Finish, and after talking about it, we all reached a consensus that, yeah, she is a companion. So, number 7, Cardinal Olestra. Olestra was one of the leading Time Lords in the Time War, and she was a companion to the War Doctor. She also showed up and met the 8th Doctor, but I don't consider their dynamic Doctor-companion like I do the War Doctor Olestra. And just, what a fascinating dynamic these two people have, the War Doctor and Cardinal Olestra. Because you have the War Doctor, who wants to get out of the Time War. He wants it to end. He wants to find the peaceful solution, despite committing these atrocities. And then you have Olestra, who wants the same things, essentially. She wants to end the war, but she... how to say this without making her sound villainous. She wants to do it in the deadliest way possible. Like, she is talking about wiping out the Daleks. She is basically talking about committing genocide. And I just find that fascinating in their dynamic, that they both want the same things, the end of the Time War, but when it comes to achieving that goal, they have such different ideals. Like, and it's... Oh, I am totally blanking. But, yeah, Cardinal Olestra. I wish I could think of more to say there, but it's really just get the War Doctor series from Big Finish and listen to it. It's just the way John Hurt and Jacqueline Pierce play off each other is just amazing. Number 6, Dorothy McShane, better known as Ace. Ace is a companion to the 7th Doctor, and I like to think that she's his enforcer, just because of how headstrong and brash and even violent she is. You know, it's like, you have the 7th Doctor, who is this dark, cunning, manipulative mastermind. He's the thinker. And then you have Ace. Ace is his doer. And they work so well together. And honestly, excuse me, I really think, despite being the final companion of Classic Who, the companions of New Who all owe so much to Ace. You know, it's like, because she is not the first, because she is the first companion to not stick to who she is. Like, even though the classic series had some really great companions, they were all one note and didn't really develop. Like, Jamie was the same from start to finish. Barbara was the same from start to finish. Sarah Jane was the same from start to finish. But with Ace, she was not. You know, the girl we met in Dragonfire is not the same woman we closed the series with in Survival. And, you know, she's really got an arc. She really developed. And like I said, I think the New Who companions owe so much to her for that. Number 4, Donna Noble. Now, at this point, what is there to say about Donna that hasn't already been said? Like, I feel like, you know, every good thing to say about Donna has already been touched upon. Like, after Rose and maybe Martha, Martha's tricky because she tried to be her own thing. She tried to be her own character, but the show itself and the writing of Series 2 was so determined to make her the Doctor's rebound girl, but no, it's... So, I'm after Rose and potentially Martha. We get Donna, the first companion to not of New Who to not be romantically interested in the Doctor. Plain and simple, she is his best friend, and like I said, it's Donna. What can you really say about her that hasn't already been said? David Tennant and Catherine Tate played off each other so amazingly. In fact, even after Doctor Who, they've done it. They did a production together of Much Ado About Nothing, where they played Beatrice and Benedict, and they're once again together, playing Scrooge McDuck and Magica De Spell in DuckTales. I really jumped the gun when I said the third Doctor and Jo was my favorite Doctor-companion relationship, because now here I am praising one that is so much better than that. And even one I'll talk about when I get to number 1, that's still so much better. But yeah, Donna Noble, the Doctor's best friend, and probably one of the best companions of New Who. Number 4, Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart, also known as the Brigadier. Now, in the fandom, there is actually a debate as to whether or not the Brigadier is a companion, and in my opinion, yes, he is. And he is probably one of the best companions in the show. One of the things I love, I actually talked about this in my Diary of River Song Series 1 review, because I compared Nicholas Courtney to Alex Kingston. Nicholas Courtney, in his performance, just had this way of immediately clicking with whoever was playing the Doctor. It could have been Patrick Troughton, John Pertwee, Tom Baker, Peter Davison, Colin. I think he's worked with everyone from Troughton to McGann. And just every time, the first time they meet, the first line he says, that chemistry is there, that connection is there. And that... why is it the further I get up this list, the less I can think of to stay? But yeah, the Brigadier, another of the Doctor's best friends, one of the longest running companions of the show. Not the longest running, I think that's Jamie, but yep. So after bumbling through Donna and the Brigadier, I had to pause for a minute, take a break, drink some water, and gather my thoughts before continuing, because I didn't want to make that mistake anymore. So now we're on number 3, my favorite companion of New Who, Bill Potts. Now first I want to get this out of the way. Bill's naysayers like to say, oh, she's a megaphone, she's an agenda-pushing character. She's really not. We've seen movies and TV shows where there is an agenda-pushing character, and trust me, if Bill was, it would have been so much more in your face. It wouldn't have been subtle. Really, except for maybe a line here or a mention there, Bill's sexuality doesn't come into play all that much. She doesn't say anything about it. She doesn't try to push her views on people at all. And except for the first episode of Series 10 and the last episode of Series 10, the pilot and the Doctor Falls, it doesn't play into the plot at all. This is not an agenda-pushing character. That out of the way, Bill is just wonderful. Every adventure with the Doctor she goes on, I love how she approaches it. She approaches it with this wide-eyed curiosity. She's just excited to be there, and she's happy to learn. And I also feel that Bill, for the first time in a long time, gives us a Doctor-companion dynamic that we haven't seen in a while. Like, we've had love interests, and we've had friends, and we've had even close family sometimes, but for the longest time, we haven't had the Doctor as a teacher and the companion as a student. And that's what the 12th Doctor and Bill are. I mean, he still cares for her as a friend, though. Don't get that wrong, but... And just... I mean, what happens to Bill in the finale is absolutely devastating, but... See, I said I didn't want to do this again with the not being able to say anything, and here I am. So Bill Potts, my favorite companion of New Who. I loved her chemistry with Capaldi, and I'm just gonna move on and get to wrapping this up. So, Jo Grant moving from number 3 to number 8, number 3 on my original list to number 8 on this list, was the first big change. This is the second big change, as this companion was originally my number 9. Number 2, Perpa Gilliam Brown, better known as Perry. In my opinion, there are, throughout Doctor Who, there are good companions everyone likes. Sarah Jane, Jamie, Rose. No, not Rose. I meant to say Donna. Oh, God, I hate Rose. And then there are companions everyone doesn't like. Adric, Mel. Clara is very divisive. And then you have divisive companions. Companions that split the fandom about whether they like them or not, like Clara. And then you have the underrated companions. Companions that people are just like, but some people think they are better than everyone realizes. In my opinion, Perry is the show's most underrated companion. Like Clara, she is a companion to multiple Doctors, the 5th Doctor and the 6th Doctor, and she works so much better with the 6th Doctor. Personal bias, because favorite Doctor. But more than that, everyone liked to say that Perry is useless, or she is the damsel. She gets captured a lot. And yes, it happens, but I think Perry is much more useful than people than people realize. Like, it doesn't always work out for her, but she always tries to help. Where, specifically, my mind always goes to Vengeance on Varos. The story opens with the TARDIS breaking down, and Perry actually reads through the TARDIS manual to try and help the Doctor figure out what's going on. And, a lot of people think it was too harsh or too acerbic, but I liked her bantering with the 6th Doctor. I liked their bickering. It came across sort of like siblings, how, it's like they obviously care for each other, but they also really enjoy picking at each other. And just over the years, as we've seen the TV stories, and then as the Big Finish audios have come out, Nicola Bryant has just gotten better and better in this role. And, like, The Reaping and Perry and the Piscon Paradox, 2 audios, are some of her best stories. And, I just really love Perry, but not as much as our number 1. Number 1, my favorite companion, Evelyn Smyth. Now, to try and set this, take what I said about the 10th Doctor as Donna. A purely platonic relationship, best friends, one of the best dynamics in the show. Take everything great about them and make it 100 times better. That is the 6th Doctor. That is the 6th Doctor and Evelyn. Like, when I talked about Jo, I talked about the companion mold, usually because every companion eventually falls into that same archetype. You know, young woman, early 20s or so, modern day Earth, usually middle class or something. By being in her 50s, Evelyn breaks this mold. And one of the things I love about her is that a lot of times the companions are subservient to the Doctor. Like, he'll be talking to them, he'll be explaining things, and he'll say, "You need to do this," or "I need to ask you to do something," and they just sort of fall over and do it. Evelyn is not the same way. If the Doctor does something she disagrees with, she will not hesitate to call him out on it. You know, in fact, going from the series and into the audios, if we look at the Sixth Doctor's arc, how he goes from this loud, brash, acerbic man into this sweeter, gentler, still very brash and pompous man, we see that he really owes a lot to Evelyn for that change. And just, you know, listening to these stories, again, Colin Baker and Maggie Stables have phenomenal chemistry. I rest in peace, Maggie Stables. You gave us some of the best stories in Doctor Who, and one of the best companions. Certainly my favorite. Alright, this has been my top 10 favorite companions. Redux, what did you think? Who are your favorite companions? What are your top 10 favorites? Do we share anything in common? Go ahead and start a conversation in the comments. Like, comment, and subscribe, and then click that little bell in the corner next to subscribe. So that way when I upload, you get notifications you get the notification, because subscribe stopped doing that. And this is Sir Jedi Sentinel, and I will see you guys next time.